Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the Marketplace. Coming up this afternoon, International Monetary Fund promises to consider Ghana's program and release second tranche disbursement as soon as deal is reached with external creditors.
Certainly hope that an agreement can be reached soon so that we can rapidly bring the program to the board.
Also coming up, Unilever Ghana to reduce prices of some major items if inflation continues to decline. We'll hear from the managing director.
We've reduced the price of key soap. We've reduced the price of Pepsodent. And we have reduced the price of Geisha. These are our three big brands. We have reduced prices.
Also this afternoon, a survey conducted by accounting and auditing firm KPMG and Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply highlights pervasive nature of procurement fraud within a significant number of organizations. We'll get into it. My name is Daryl Kwaw. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. First up this afternoon, the IMF has indicated that it will move quickly to consider Ghana's program as soon as a deal is reached with external creditors. It follows concerns that the country may not secure the much-awaited $600 million before the end of this year. This is due to concerns raised by China on the cut-off date for restructuring Ghana's debt. Kozack is Director of Communications at the IMF and has been responding to a question posed by Joy Business during a press conference in Washington, D.C.
Completed by the board, Ghana would have access to $600 million in financing. To ensure timely completion of the review, official creditors and the Ghanaian authorities will need to reach agreement on a debt treatment consistent with the objectives of the program and in line with the financing assurances that creditors provided in May of 2023. Discussions between the Ghanaian authorities and the official creditor committee are ongoing, and we certainly hope that an agreement can be reached soon so that we can rapidly bring the program to the board.
Manufacturing giant Unilever Ghana has assured that it will continue to reduce prices of goods if inflation declines further. Inflation has been dropping since August this year to reach 35% in October. However, there have been concerns that most firms have not been responding to the development. But Managing Director of Unilever Ghana, George Osuansan, disagrees. He spoke on PM Express Business Edition.
Unfortunately, even though inflation is coming down and prices of raw materials have stabilized, they've stabilized at a very high. And that's impacting our people. What have we done was your question. I thought to give you a bit of background. So I would say to you that we have taken price reductions on our products. Okay, so and
it has already happened.
Yes, you can check that. We have reduced.
When from when? So if I go into the market right now, you have reduced your prices in relation to the reduction in inflation.
Yes, we've reduced the price of key soap. We've reduced the price of Pepsodent. And we have reduced the price of Geisha. These are our three big brands. We have reduced prices.
When did this thing happen? I stand to, not specific dates, but I'm looking at periods here.
So we reduced the price of key soap, I believe, about 2-3 months ago. I will need to check the exact dates. We reduced the price of Pepsodent much earlier. Okay, and I forgot to add, we've also reduced the price of Guardian Carbolic, which I think we did about 4 or 5 months ago. But we have reduced prices, and then also we've not taken on any new price reductions. Because remember, we are in competition. Remember, we need volumes to get the economies of scale to then be able to serve people more. So it's something we watch all the time.
So if I get from you that, or can I put it to you as a question, that if this trend should continue in terms of the cost of inputs stabilizing or going down, we will see the correspondent reduction in these prices.
Absolutely.
Or just like some other industries who would want to benefit and shift the goalposts, and when these things happen, we still don't see the reduction in prices on the market.
Absolutely, absolutely, George. And I think when I travel around the country as I do market visits and consumer immersions. Don't take the knowledge and connectedness of the Ghanaian for granted. And if we don't respond and open ourselves up to being hit by fair competition because we try to be greedy, Ghanaians will shift away from us. And we would be the losers. Remember, I have told you at the beginning, that volume is very important for manufacturing.
Now, former Chief Justice and Chairperson of the Ghana Association of Restructuring and Insolvency Advisors Trust Fund, Sophia Kufu, has advocated more practitioners in the area to help rescue companies undergoing insolvency challenges. Speaking at the third presidential fundraising dinner and awards night, Justice Kufu said the current economic challenges present an opportunity for practitioners in the area to turn the fortunes of struggling companies around.
The event brought together industry leaders, government officials, and distinguished guests to recognize outstanding achievements in the field of restructuring and insolvency. The evening kicked off with a cocktail reception, fostering networking among attendees who eagerly anticipated the main ceremony. Her Ladyship Justice Sophia Kufu, chairperson of Garia Trust Fund, in her opening remarks noted that the economic realities of these times brings the relevance of Garia into sharp focus.
The economic realities of these times bring the relevance of Garia into very sharp focus. And tonight's event, themed Leveraging, Restructuring, and Business Rescue for Corporate Renewal, Turning Crisis into Opportunity, is a very pertinent theme. Much value has been eroded in the economy. Markets have lost their vitality, and the outlook appears uncertain. Though some businesses have been successful in adjusting to the new reality, many businesses now find themselves in financial distress. It is during such tumultuous times that insolvency practitioners have a unique opportunity to turn crisis into opportunity and growth and be relevant to new and emerging imperatives.
Mr. Felix Addo, president of Garia, delivered an inspiring speech underscoring the association's dedication to promoting excellence in restructuring and insolvency.
In 2021, we marked the culmination of a 5-year strategic plan. And that was a period defined by resilience and adaptation, especially in the wake of the COVID. Operationally, as a result of the COVID, business continuity management systems, a mix of remote in-person processes, have been maintained, these hybrid operations in our offices. And so far, our operations are running smoothly.
Chief of Staff Akosia Fremont Selpare, speaking on behalf of President Akufo-Addo, highlighted progress in passing the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Acts 2020.
I echo the sentiment expressed by the chairperson. Indeed, it is a miracle that we are here tonight, celebrating this of accomplishments for Garia, despite the challenges faced in 2023. Madam Chair, your vivid depiction of the economic roller coaster we've experienced resonates deeply. Markets losing vitality, revenues drying up, and credit lines playing hide and seek. These challenges have tested our mettle.
The highlight of the evening was the presentation of Garia Excellence Awards, recognizing individuals and organizations making significant contributions to the industry.
Now, a survey conducted by accounting and auditing firm KPMG and the Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply has underscored the pervasive nature of procurement fraud within a significant number of organizations. Majority of respondents in the survey indicated that procurement fraud occurs in their organization, while a majority of the respondents noted that the organizations have controls to prevent and detect fraud. The findings from this survey suggest that there may be potential challenges in the form of collusion to bypass controls, management override of controls, absence of effective controls, and the lack of adherence to established control mechanisms. On Zoom to talk a bit more about this, KPMG GIBS 2023 Procurement Enhancement Survey Report is Andrew Akoto, Partner Advisor at KPMG. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us here on the Marketplace. Tell us a bit more about the Procurement Enhancement Survey and what informed the conduct of this survey.
Thank you, Daryl, and good afternoon to your viewers. Around the middle of this year, KPMG, in partnership with the Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply, collaborated to carry out this survey, given the increasing importance of the procurement function in our economy. Indeed, it's estimated that about 50% of public expenditure is committed to procuring works, services, and goods, because government itself does not carry out a number of these. So it becomes very important that as a nation, we begin to pay attention, and for good reason too, because by its sheer size, the procurement function becomes a source of corruption and waste if we don't rally around to look at the challenges facing this function and how we can support it to become better and therefore help build a more resilient economy.
So what are the highlights of this 2023 survey?
Yeah, as you indicated in your introduction, about 90% of respondents, whom really constitute a significant number of procurement practitioners around the country, did indicate having observed some procurement fraud in one way or the other in their organization. And that is very, very significant. And among some of the types of fraud, they mentioned matters like conflict of interest, collusion, procurement rigging, among others. And there is a real source of concern because as a nation, we should be looking to maximize the use of our scarce resources. And it becomes therefore important that respondents as well as stakeholders pay attention to the findings from this survey. Some of the other important revelations had to do with lack of access for support from management or the top, as well as access to channels to be able to get support, assuming practitioners come under pressure, which is more or less a daily occurrence.
You looked into the private sector and the private sector as well. I want us to begin with the public sector. I mean, what did you find there?
Okay, so both in the public and the private sectors, it's quite evident that the procurement function, has become increasingly important and always comes under some sort of a strain or pressure when tenders are being put out. But the significant thing about the public sector in particular is the limited access for support, where professionals in this space want to have access to be able to air their concerns or indeed report fraud, as the case might be. And in fact, one respondent was bold enough as far as go that there should be a regulatory body set up specially to support procurement professionals because of the kind of pressure that they come under. And whereas in the private sector, a number of institutions have improved their governance practices, giving access to anonymous whistleblowing channels, and as well as setting the right tone at the top. In the public sector, it's not so much, and therefore practitioners continue to face a lot of challenges in terms of carrying out their work independently and effectively.
Yeah, comparatively, is the situation any better in the private sector?
Not well. Like I said, in the private sector, because of the support systems from the top, because of improved corporate governance, as well as access to whistleblowing, as well as anonymous channels of reporting whenever misconduct or fraud is spotted, maybe they're able to fare somehow better. Besides, management continues to support the professionals in this space by instituting periodic control reviews, as well as building the capacity of their staff. Of course, in the public sector, this also happens, but to what effect? If these are countered by pressures from the top, as well as some other prominent quarters.
Let's talk about the use of technology in reducing procurement fraud, because the government was supposed to fully implement the Ghana electronic procurement system this year. I'm just wondering how far this would go in improving procurement practices and reducing fraud.
That is an important question, Daryl. And all over the world, studies have shown that where procurement practices have been digitalized, or as they call it, electronic procurement systems have been introduced, it has enhanced the practice of procurement within those jurisdictions. And in fact, they even say that currently in Ukraine, when they were invaded by Russia, they were still able to kind of sustain their economy because they had already digitalized their procurement practices. So e-procurement is a big deal. And we are informed that back in 2019, His Excellency the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, supported the launch of an e-procurement process system in Ghana with the Public Procurement Agency as the implementing agency. And so far, I believe it has gone well from what we've heard. And we're also informed that implementation would have been completed this year. That we don't know about, but we believe it becomes very key to also conduct a post-implementation review of this system that has been implemented to ensure that it works and works very well. Because at the end of the day, if we're able to get it right, it will go a long way to save a lot of scarce resources, eliminate wastage, reduce corruption, and get overall value for money for whatever we put our resources to in this country.
And what other recommendations are you making based on your findings?
Well, I mean, beyond continue to build capacity and invest in procurement professionals, we believe it's useful that management periodically constitutes, audits into the effectiveness of procurement practices, so that the control systems that continuously are rolled out are enhanced to improve the overall enhancement of this function. There's also the need to continue to support the Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supplies. It's a relatively new body, and I know that they are also trying to get the support of Parliament to improve on their mandates within the system, thereby empowering their professionals to be more confident and to be more bold in carrying out their work in a very, very effective and professional manner.
All right. Thank you for your time. Andrew Akoto there, his partner advisor at KPMG. Appreciate your time with us. Now, a new ride-hailing service called Supreme Taxi has been launched in Ghana. The Supreme Taxi app, according to owners, has a competitive advantage over other ride-hailing services, as it has a unique inbuilt tracking features that ensures the safety of both passengers and drivers. According to Customer Support Officer Supreme Taxi Gloria Aite, drivers of the company are rigorously assessed to ensure that customers have a good transport experience. Here's more from the launch.
Dedicated transport management portal for companies and Ghanaian users, which has a lot of unique features. The app provides maximum security to customers as it encompasses features that can help track vehicles in times of emergency. In an interview, Customer Support Officer at Supreme Taxi, Gloria Aite, said the company is interested in the safety of customers, and that informed their decision to assess drivers who utilize their services.
Supreme Taxi is a Ghanaian taxi wrap, and basically we're just trying to ease the pain of drivers, and we're trying to give them great commission to help them earn a great living. Safety is our most top priority here at Supreme Taxi. We have vigorous vetting processes that we've taken our drivers through, and we also have excellent customer support. and we have inbuilt tracking features that really help the passenger and the rider to ensure safety with our riders.
A driver, Michael Johnson, urged other drivers to use the app in order to enhance their living conditions.
Supreme is charging the lowest commission rates in the market, 15%. And as a driver, I've been able to make 500 cities aside from sales. So I've been able to get 300 cities for completing 10 trips a week as a driver. And I've been able to refer 2 of my friends which has downloaded the Supreme app and also come on board. So I've gotten 200 cities, all aside my daily sales. So driving with Supreme has really been nice. The Supreme app is very easy as a driver, easy to go through, easy to register, simple requirements, and faster registration. And in fact, Supreme is really amazing. The Supreme is bringing something new and unique to town. So I will urge my fellow drivers to come on board Supreme, enjoy this free 300 cities.
Riders are assured of a 30% bonus off their first 5 trips, while drivers stand the chance to earn 15% commission on their first 10 trips.
All right, you're watching The Marketplace. We're taking a short break. We have some more stories afterwards. Hello, welcome back to The Marketplace. Now, this week, the conversation about spaces for our music creatives is back in the fray. Ghanaian musician Kofi Kenata called off his annual Made in Tadi concert for the second time in a row. This resulted from the inaccessibility of spaces such as the Jubilee Park and the Takoradi Technical University Park. But should the issue of venues be a problem in 2023? Culture journalist with myjoyonline.com, Kenneth Awochidako, has some answers for us on today's edition of Show Business.
Ordinarily, one may think that cancelling a show is just a very simple move that, can be taken because there's always another day for another performance. But for a team or a management team of an artist to come to the decision to call off a show must have taken some level of thinking, and the fact that they could not do much about it. I mean, it's the last resort that any artist or management would want to go in terms of having that one-on-one time with their audiences. So this is one of those instances where the artist would have been able to engage his fan base in that intimate level. And it also goes beyond that, because if you look at the importance of having live performances, it goes beyond just the intimacy. There's money to be made. There's some revenue that can go into the creation process, and also some revenue from ticketing, for instance, that are going to go to the artists and their management to be able to help them recoup from the expenditure that they may have made throughout the year creating the music that they create that the audiences love. So basically, the significance is very huge and goes beyond just that intimate feeling that they have with their fans as well. I mean, there's also a very huge economic impact that comes along, because some of these events, wherever they are held, there's a lot of commercial activity around the event itself, and then you'd find vendors over there, you'd find people who are artisans. Everyone is involved in the process. I mean, there's so much job that's created in those constituencies where musical concerts are held from a day-to-day basis. So it goes beyond just having a good time with the artists, but there's also a lot that's to be lost in terms of revenue when it comes to artists canceling their shows. Generally, there are indicators to show that these are not just mere claims. I mean, there was a research that was conducted back in 2020 that projected some revenue increases in terms of worldwide live music sponsorship revenues. It was expected to hit some $6.28 billion by the year 2024. Now, in 2020, when COVID-19 hit, there was some steep decline in physical performances, and because of the limits on physical interaction, basically. So the revenue projections as of 2020 went down because there was not so much performances during that year, basically. But the restrictions have been removed, and there are now live performances among others, and so it's expected that this projection is going to be reached by the year 2024. And so you can imagine how much Ghana or Africa is losing in terms of revenue revenue by not focusing that much on creating these conducive atmospheres for, these kinds of musical interaction to take place in the various regions.
Right, culture journalist Kenneth Awotridako on challenges with space ahead of Christmas festivities. Before we go, let's check out the latest headlines on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. We are hopeful Ghana official creditor committee can reach agreement soon. IMF, we brought you the story. Also, list of 10 African countries with highest debt to the IMF. Ghana is the 7th. You can read more on that this weekend at myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl. Kwaw. Thanks for watching The Marketplace. Enjoy your weekend.